Thank you, Alan. My name is Sheila Jessen. So I am a military and veteran outreach person for Cargill. And I've been on the board of Eagle Group since 2016. And one of the things that I coach veterans a lot on, how to find jobs, because there's a lot of things that I had to learn along the way. And this tool ONET is something that is just so awesome and a lot of people don't know about it. So I'm going to do a presentation on it tonight. Some of you have probably already got coaching on me from it, so I apologize for a repeat, but it'll be nice to get this captured on video so we can share with others. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll kind of start over. So when you go out and find ONET, you're looking for onetonline.org, and this is what it's going to look like. So this website comes from the Department of Labor and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So it's really a gold mine of information, and it's really accurate and up to date. You can find information such as salaries and things like that on Glassdoor and other places, but this is kind of the gold standard because it's data that's coming from the government and not just people self-reporting what their salary is, for example. So let's use this website as a job seeker. And so we'll go down to the occupation search box right here in the middle of the page. And who wants to throw out a suggestion of what I should type in there as a job title?
VP of Operations.
Okay, so I'm going to type in, that's too specific. Let's try a different one. I have a pre-fill here. Let's just try logistics. We can try some other ones too. The challenge with when you put VP of Operations, it's looking for job categories, not necessarily job titles. Okay,
Hey, Sheila,
so yeah.
could you click at your top right corner and optimize your screen?
Oh, sure.
Much better, thank you.
Better?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so it's gonna go out and find us 20 jobs that it's related to logistics. So you can see here, we've got logistics analysts, logisticians, etc. Some of these might make sense and some of them might be really weird and why is this one on here, but it might have something to do with logistics. You can see on the bottom, there's actually 172 job categories related to this. It's just showing us the top 20. So we could go down a couple more pages if we want to look for other, think of them as like branches of the tree. And so if we were looking for this, now I think, Thomas, you're looking for something in logistics, right?
Correct.
So which of these jumps out at you? We'll use you as an example.
Let's see here. Supply chain manager.
Okay, so let's click on that one. But you can always go back and try out all the different areas to see, what fits you. And so when you get on this, it's called the summary report. And the summary report is actually a really long report. It tells me about this career field. At the top, it gives me a little half paragraph about what this job does. And then it shows me some sample of reported job titles. And here's where you're going to see like that VP of something or the supply chain director or the supply chain manager, things like that. You want to definitely check the reported job titles before you start digging in because, for example, I did one with program manager and the job titles were all about TV and radio programming. Was definitely not what we were looking for. So we had to go back and change our search terms. So you have to kind of play around with it to find the area that fits you. But if you were looking at this, Thomas, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of looking for a supply chain manager. That's on the list. So we're good to go. So then we can scroll through the report and we can see what they do, what kind of tasks, what kind of technology they're using, what kind of knowledge skills. You can read all this stuff on your own. And one thing I like to stop and benchmark is looking at the education. And so here we can see that in this career field, 67% of them have a bachelor's degree and 19% of them have a master's degree. So that's just giving me an indication of what would be expected. Now, sometimes your work experience can override a degree. So don't think that, oh, if I don't have that degree, I can't get into this career field, because that's not always the case. But it's just a good place to just take a peek. We're going to scroll down a little bit farther and we're going to get down to related occupations. So here it's giving you the 5 jobs that it thinks is most closely related to the one that we picked at the top. I think of these as like the 5 cousins of the one we picked. And so it's just, again, showing you more branches of the tree to go check out later. And some of them, again, might be a good fit. And some of them are like, why I'm not interested in being an accountant. Why is that on there? So just ignore it. Here's where it gets interesting, and especially for the couple of you on the phone today that are transitioning military. If you were looking for a career in logistics, you would need to know how much does this job pay in the civilian world. And so here we can see that in the wages and employment trends, the median wage in 2019 was 94,000. So that's a US average, and that's a median salary. So think of it, somebody in the middle of their career, middle of the road pay for the country. But maybe I want to know, what does it pay in Minnesota? So I can go and choose my state, hit go for Minnesota. And now we get a little bell curve here. So here we can see Minnesota in orange compared to the US in blue. And Minnesota is actually scaling a little bit higher than the national average. So that's good intel. And here I can see that the low end of this pay scale is around 61K, the mid-range is 96, and the high end is 160. My experience is that hiring managers are usually looking to stay between the low to the median is a pretty safe bet. Unless you're somebody that's got 20 years of experience doing that specific thing, then you might be on the farther end of the pay scale. But one of the tricks that I say is when you're talking to a recruiter, the first time they're going to ask you that difficult question about, well, how much money are you looking to make in this job search? And a great way to answer that question would be to say, well, I've been looking at Department of Labor data, and I know that in Minnesota, the supply chain manager usually pays between 61 to 96 from low to median. I'm hoping to come in somewhere around 75 to 90 because I've got X number of years experience doing this job. And then you're talking their numbers and you're talking their language. They're going to be like, yeah, right on. So it doesn't even matter how much money you made in the military or what your BAH was or anything. You're talking the same language as them, and you're quoting numbers that are realistic to what they're looking to fill. Is that helpful? Okay.
Yes.
And if you scroll down a little bit farther, you can see that it's laid out a bunch of other parts of the state. So if I want to know, what does this job pay in Duluth or Rochester or other parts of the non-metropolitan area, it gives me some clues about that too. Okay, so now we're going to hit the back arrow. And we're back on our main report. Now, also in the wage and employment trends, I can see that the projected growth for the next 10 years is on average about 3 to 4%. That's a good sign. If it was saying that it was below average or declining, then I might think, well, maybe that's not a good career field to get into, because if I plan to work for the next 10 or 15 years, I don't want to keep getting pink slips everywhere I go. But this one looks positive as far as the growth. And then the next thing, the most important thing, is where are the jobs? And at the bottom of this report, you can see job openings on the web. And there's a Find Jobs button. So we're going to click on that. Now this time we can actually put in our zip code. So I'm going to just use mine, 55345, and hit go. And that's just going to narrow it down within 50 miles of your zip code to start with. But of course, we're in the Twin Cities and it's going to be a lot of jobs. Okay, so it found 1,287 jobs for a supply chain manager within 50 miles of my house. So that's pretty amazing, right? If I look at this list, I'm seeing some pretty good job titles here for Thomas, who's looking for a supply chain manager position. Now, some of these jobs have a federal contractor star. And if Cargill was on this list right now, you'd see that we have that star too. And one little tip about those is that companies that are federal contractors, so not just defense contractors, but federal contractors, we have an obligation to hire 5.9% veterans. And so those companies might also have a veteran recruiter like me. And so one of the little tricks you can do is, if I didn't know anybody at GAF or Oracle or Procter & Gamble, I could just go to their 1-800 number, call it and say, hey, I'm a veteran. I just applied for your supply chain manager in Minneapolis. Can you put me through to the military recruiter? I don't know if they have one, but if they do, they're going to put you through. So it's kind of like a little tricky way to get a hold of a real person instead of just applying online into the big black hole. So that's a little tip. You'll also notice that these dates on the right-hand side, they're all jumbled. And for the people that are just transitioning out of the military, when I was transitioning, I didn't understand what the date posted meant. I was like, where's the closing date? Because in my world, jobs always had closing dates. But civilians don't have a closing date, they have a posting date. And that gives you a clue as to how far along the job is in the process. At Cargill, we don't delete a job typically until an offer gets accepted. So if the job has been posted since September, it's quite likely that the job is almost ready to go off the list because maybe they're waiting for somebody to accept an offer. So if you applied for it, you're not going to get anything, right? And so the sooner that you apply to the posting date, the better chance you have of getting some traction in that job. But you can also notice that all these dates are mixed up. So right now it's sorting it by best match. I want to go up and sort it by date posted, new to old, because I always want to be looking at the newest jobs. Okay, so now I just reordered it, and now we can see all the jobs that just got posted today and the day before, and we're still looking at a pretty long list. If I wanted to narrow it down, I could go over here on the left-hand column, and I could say, you know what, I don't want to drive a lot, just show me the ones within 25 miles of my house. But again, because we're in the Twin Cities, I don't think it's going to narrow it down too much. It probably didn't. So I could even go 10 miles or 5 miles. Okay, so that's where you find the jobs. Any questions about that so far? Nope. Okay. So another thing I want to show you on this page, if you look over on the left-hand column, you can see there's a box called source right here in this blue box. And right now it says NLX. I really like the NLX. It stands for the National Labor Exchange, which you can see right up here in the tiny little print, National Labor Exchange. This website is scraping jobs off of all different job boards. And so it's doing it for multiple sources. So it's putting all the jobs that are out there and putting them all in one place for you. So I want to see what else is out there. So I'm going to go down. I can see I have America's Job Exchange, Career Builder, and Indeed. So let's just go look at Career Builder as an example. And then it automatically refreshes. I didn't have to click the see jobs. So Career Builder found 442 jobs. But one thing about this, when you change your source, you can see the dates are all mixed up again. When I go to sort it to new to old, it doesn't work. I've tried and tried. I don't know what the secret is. I think they have a glitch on their website. So unfortunately, when you change your source, you're going to have to dig around to find the jobs. But again, we're seeing different jobs here, right? We're seeing like, you know, program management in United Health Group and lots of good opportunities here. Some other tips on this page, I can go over here and filter by company. It's showing me which companies are hiring the most. I can search by location. So maybe I say, well, I want to stay in the West Metro. Or I want to stay in the East Metro. I can narrow it down that way. And again, like I said, you can narrow it down by distance. So that's all I had to share on ONET. Any questions?
Hey, Sheila, real quick, it looked like there was a way to filter it by number of days posted, like you could filter last week or last day down lower to the left.
Oh yeah, let's try that. It's still not working. I asked it to do just one day back and it's showing me stuff from the 9th of December. So I think there's a glitch when it comes to these other sources. So it needs you need to dig around a little bit, but what I would do if I was a job seeker is that I would spend like maybe a long weekend doing a marathon session. Maybe if I was Thomas, I would search for supply chain manager, logisticians, logistics managers, have a couple of different search terms. And then I'm going to search all 4 of those sources. So I'm going to go out there and check Career Builder, Indeed, Monster, whatever or NLX. And I'm going to go out and find the jobs that are 2 weeks, 3 weeks old at the latest and try to aim at the ones that are the newest and go out and apply for those jobs. Then the following Monday, I'm going to go out and do those searches every morning. And I'm only going to look at what's new since yesterday. And it should only take me 5 or 10 minutes to do that. And I'm done. And then the rest of the day, you can figure out who do I know at those companies that I just applied for this morning and start networking towards those jobs and those companies. And so it's a really good habit to really not miss out on any of those jobs that might be getting posted. That would be interesting to you. I think of it as like kind of riding the crest of the wave of all the new jobs getting posted every day. So it'd be a really good first morning thing to start your day. Anything else, Alan, that you can think of that I'm forgetting?
No, that was an awesome tour de force of ONET, man. I appreciate that.